how to design your movement practice. Let's break it down. Welcome back to ELD 45, Every Last Drop Letter, where we talk about ways to get every last drop from life, baby. Let's go. So, the FSM method, flow, strength, mobility, it's my absolute jam. Let's talk about it. So, how to program and movement selection, desired adaptations, flow, strength, and mobility. So by now, there's a chance that you've seen my mobility stuff on Instagram or some random stuff on YouTube where I'm doing some random shit. And you might be asking yourself the question of, what muscle is he training? What muscle are you training? And that's exactly how I used to think during my bodybuilding days. And it's no longer how I think. Even though it has a slight implication on how I think about training, I'm never thinking about what muscle group I'm training. It's more of the intention behind the adaptation. So yeah, even though, again, it still guides it a little bit. Obviously, if I'm pressing, it's going to be working the chest and the shoulders, but the intention isn't just to the muscles, right? So I really encourage you guys, I really encourage my clients and myself to think about what adaptations am I trying to provide my body with? What adaptations am I trying to provide my body with? Our body adapts to every single thing that we do to it, whether it's sitting, running, sprinting, weights, boxing, whatever. We're creating adaptations. What adaptations do we want to utilize rather? What adaptations do we want to cause on our body? So from there, we can dissect our current situation and design a training program that uses flow, strength, mobility, FSM method, which I'm coining, for all-round athleticism while also gaining strength and muscle for long-term health benefits. So don't get me started on this, but so many people say, like, once you turn 30, man, it's all fucking downhill. Honestly, get out of here, get out of here. One of my favorite quotes, a quote by yours truly: our bodies don't fall apart as much as we've been taught. Age equals decreased movement diversity equals physical degradation. It's all downhill from 30. Fuck right off. I'm going to read that again. Our bodies don't fall apart as much as we've been taught. Age equals decreased movement diversity equals physical degradation. It's all downhill from 30. Fuck right off. So age equals decreased movement diversity. When we get older, we tend to stop doing shit, and therefore that's what causes physical degradation. It's not the age itself. Your body isn't bad because you're 40. It's probably bad because you stopped doing the things that gave you youthfulness and that gave you coordination, that gave you strength, that gave you all the things. It's because we don't do them anymore. It's not because of age, and age just correlates to decreased movement diversity. We typically do very singular movement paths. Like most people that have trained in the gym doing weights for like 20 or 30 years, they typically have only done this sort of stuff and no other movements that cause other adaptations, and so therefore they get closed down. Anyway, what is FSM? So we've got the flow, we've got the strength, we've got mobility. So on flow, if your goal is to play, increase and maintain coordination, rhythm, and all-round athleticism, and also have access to the flow state, it falls into the flow category. If our goal is to gain strength and muscle in general, or in a specific movement like a pull-up or a handstand push-up, it falls under the strength category. And if our goal is to decrease pain, increase ranges of motion, increase flexibility, and create long-term joint, muscle, tendon, and body health by creating strength and resilience in injury-typical movements, it falls in the mobility category. And by the way, if you're looking for more information on this, or you want some specific coaching or specific programming, your boy here does it, in person or online. So feel free to reach out and we'll tee something up. So through understanding these concepts to categorize movement, we can ask ourselves what adaptations, what desires do we want to prioritize. The key element to each one is the compounding effect of time. The more time we spend in each category, flow, strength, mobility, the more fruits we will harvest. The more strength work you do, the stronger you'll get. The more flow practice you do, the more in the flow state. And the more flow you'll have through your body and coordination. The more time you spend doing mobility, the more resilient and pain-free your body is probably going to be. So the best way to ensure that we spend time in each of these categories is in everyday sessions. So let's do some little examples. The session may look like flow, 10 to 30 minutes as a warm-up. That could be rope flow, maybe some boxing, some shadow boxing, some juggling, whatever. Flow-based stuff, if you want to learn more, DM me. Strength, 20 to 60 minutes as the focal point of the session. So that might include weighted pull-ups, muscle-ups, handstand push-ups, strength movements, or traditional movements as well, squats, deadlifts, whatever. Mobility at the end, 10 to 30 minutes as addressing individual pain points. So I might have a lower back pain point, so I'm going to do some range of motion work on my spine. I'm going to do some foam rolling maybe I'm going to do some active passive hanging. So creating a movement/training session that incorporates all three elements creates a long-term compounding positive impact on our body without sacrificing health and longevity. I say this purely because when I was fucking not that long ago, to be fair, I was just training strength, just training bodybuilding, go to the gym, warm up, boom, 5 sets of bench press, 5 sets of flies, 5 sets of dips, just fucking strength all the time. And it led to my body falling apart, sore elbows, shoulders, and just starting to have just general issues with my body. So yeah, it just led to a lot of underlying discomfort and issues. So we're going to think about designing a week of training incorporating all three elements. It could look many ways, with strength being the most taxing and requires more rest and recovery between sessions of similar movements. So if you're working on your handstand push-up, for example, you wouldn't want to just send it with 5 sets of 3 every single day. You want a bit of rest in between. So understanding that the concepts of flow and mobility can be utilized every day and they require minimal rest, especially flow. So this also changes our interpretation of a rest day, because 20 minutes of flow practice or mobility, specifically flow, let's say you're just doing rope flow for 20 minutes, that's actually going to create more recovery than just if you did fuck all. So flow training can help with recovery. Also mobility can too, but if you're getting too hard out into the mobility, it can create some sort of like adaptation phase, whereas like ripping the muscle apart and it needing to grow back sort of thing. And so flow training, again, that can be anything. That could be juggling, that could be rope flow stuff, that could be mace bell work, just light flow stuff. We're learning movement pattern, we're learning the head over foot, we're learning our bipedal movement, we're learning how to walk, run, play, we're learning how to have a more fruitful body, learning how to energize ourselves. So let's unpack the specific movement selection. We can make a list of the following prompts. So if you're watching this right now and you're actually serious about trying to understand what you want from your training, then what are some movements you want to unlock? Let's go through 2 little categories right here. Movements that we want to unlock, for example, handstand, push-up, pull-up. And the next category, areas of our body that hurt or limit our day-to-day experience. For example, lower back pain, or maybe I have wrist pain, so I can't really do handstands as well as I'd want to, or whatever it might be. So an example of that might be, I want to unlock handstands, I want to have less lower back pain, and I want less wrist pain, right? So the day of programming, let's still consider this flow, strength, mobility concept, the FSM method. So the program would be for, let's say, rope flow for 10 minutes. We're going to warm up the whole body, priming us for movements that connect us to our body and mind. Right now, if you guys can't tell, I'm obviously reading this, but on my website where I post the letter, if you want to read the letter, feel free to click the link in this video or my link tree or whatever. But right now, where I'm trying to read, the logos and shit are over the letters for some reason. Anyway, so flow, let's say rope flow, warm up the body for 10 minutes. We're connecting to our body, we're connecting to our mind, we're connecting the body and mind so that we create harmonious movement and better prepare ourselves for the strength stuff. So after that, I might do some mobility, maybe 5 minutes of specific wrist mobility, wrist warm-up and preparation, addressing my sore wrist in the context of this specific prescription. And then number 3, mobility, I'm going to do some core activation and preparation for handstands, for example, active passive hang. So I'm learning that hollow body straight line position. That's going to also address a bit of my lower back pain. Number 4, our strength-based movements. So we're going to do ones that will lead us to having the strength to be able to build strength for handstands, because that's the goal of this little example day here. So I'm going to do a handstand wall hold, maybe a hollow body hold, maybe a plate press, maybe some protraction, retraction, and 4 rounds of each of those movements, or 3 rounds, whatever it might be, really focusing on the strength of those movements. And then number 5, maybe some more mobility and flow, maybe playful warm down, dancing, rope flow, juggling, 1 to 3 movements that address my specific pain points or to aid the goal of handstands. So coming back to the specific examples of this prescription, wrist pain, lower back pain, maybe I do some mobility work on my lower back, maybe some hip rotation, hip movements, maybe some 90-90s, opening up through my hips, creating space for my spine to flow better. So incorporating these 3, the FSM movements, into our training, we create a playful, goal-orientated, energizing movement practice that, yes, builds muscle and strength, but we're not sacrificing mobility, longevity, joint health, all the fucking good shit that when you get older falls apart, right? We're keeping everything intact, everything in mind. How do we want to adapt? Really diving into this. Do we want a still, uncoordinated body, or do we want to maintain our athleticism and coordination? Do we want to be able to do more with our life, or do we want to slowly decrease our capabilities? Fucking come on, we all know the answer to those questions. Our training and movement selection directly corresponds with the answers to those questions. If you want to do less in your life, don't do flow work, don't do mobility work, just do strength, and eventually it'll catch up with you. God damn, getting me heated up in here. Fucking hell. If you're keen for a more specific program, more information around this, I offer in-person or online coaching. Feel free to DM me and we can learn more. I appreciate your time, guys, and I hope you learned something today. Flow, strength, mobility, thinking about that within our programming, right? Flow, strength, and mobility. There's so many ways to incorporate this into training, but basically we're going from priming the body to strengthening the body and then to looking after the body. And those 3 categories, and you can do them in any order, but in my opinion, flowing first, especially the rope flow and mace bell work prior to training, game changer. If you want a rope or you want a mace, kaidosfitnessnz.com, get yourself a rope or a mace. And yeah, fuck man, this is the future. Unconventional fitness, this is how we do it. Anyway, appreciate your time, much love, appreciate you watching. Swag. Check out the new plant in the gym, I'm fucking stoked about that. Look at this space, gratitude is flowing. I hope you guys are blessed, I hope you're feeling incredible, I hope you're feeling swag. Let's onwards. Let's continue with the day, it's time to eat. It's midday, no, it's 1 o'clock, we've been fasted all day. Anyway, get out of here, why are you still watching, bro? Come on.